Good evening, everybody. Happy July 2nd, 2026. Wanted to kind of get in and do an update video here tonight because there's been a few things going on here locally that um, talking to, if any of you watched the other video about finally finding some possible recipe testers, local recipe testers, and having a chance to talk to them more, figure out some of their medical conditions and stuff, it kind of opened up another path for down the road for the website, hopefully. And it was kind of a, I don't know how to explain it, but due to some other medical conditions I started looking into, that like the almond flour and cheese aspect isn't safe for some people. Same way with alpha gal syndrome. But this was another condition that got brought to my attention, that I need to start looking at different recipes as far as how I build things down the road to help as many people as possible. I've said it before. I can't help everybody, but if I can at least offer them some solutions that are better than store bought stuff to get over that hurdle, that's the main reason why most diets fail. People just can't get over those traditional flavors and textures and tastes that, the same way I can't. I want to be able to eat a pizza that tastes somewhat like what I remember. I want to, I was talking about it the other night, like meatloaf, for example. Something that most people would take for granted, and then you figure out that, okay, this is not safe for, and there's not enough information out there right now that people are looking at. It's out there, but doctors, dietitians are not explaining this well enough to people. And when you have someone that's got four or five conditions on top of each other, that restricts diet so much, it just it keeps getting bigger and bigger, which I never intended it to be, get to this point, period. But now it's like, okay, maybe bringing in a meal planner, in using the AI that I've been building, that maybe a year from now I'll have it up on the website, that someone could go in and basically say, these are my conditions. What recipes could you recommend? What ingredients could you recommend? Yeah, again, just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, the other big news that I really wanted to talk about today was what's it been? It's about a year now. I had been working with like Dash 4 tray chaffle makers, and I could only use the back two. And I complain about that in some of my videos. And I had picked up a Sunwhisk 2 chaffle maker. Unfortunately, these are smaller than a typical Dash maker, and there was no easy way to just one scoop, put it in, make it work. So the number 20 scooper that I use in the Dash, single or multi, wouldn't work in these. And I was bored a few weeks ago, and decided to tear this apart. And I'm like, I'll just put this in the oven, preheat it to 350, 375, scoop it, because I've been trying to create a flat chaffle. You need the structure. That's the thing with chaffles. You need the structure because you're basically working with a souffle. And once the egg puffs up, it flattens out once it cools. So year and a half ago, I can't remember, I had gotten into the 3D printing because I was really trying to create a modular, try to show this here, modular oven system that someone could do the egg rounds or pancakes. Someone could do the regular round chaffles. And the biggest thing was trying to create a hoagie size for people that love Subway and sub sandwiches. So I had gotten into working with silicone that was oven safe, food safe, and if you wanted to use the chaffle mix, this would actually take like two number 20 scoops versus the traditional 120 scoop. So patent pending is still out on this. But I found it kind of funny that I had taken apart the sun whisk and was just going to use this in the oven. And out of curiosity, I just decided to get on Amazon and type in chaffle maker and see if there was anything new on the market. And I don't know if maybe Dash had seen one of my videos complaining about the fact that the 4 chaffle maker doesn't work and that no matter what you do, you can't get the front 2 to cook the same way. And that I've also talked about trying to come up with a flat top chaffle that would be easier for some people to accept, because I get it. Oh, it's a waffle. That's what most people complain about. So I found this the other day, and this is not the way it's actually set up to do per se. They need to work on this a little bit more. But Dash came out with this multi system. Now, if you look at their advertising, the way this would actually be set up would be for a waffle on one side, and then the flat part here and here on the same side. So you could make a waffle and a fried egg at the same time. But this actually, if you do it this way, makes it possible for me to possibly do the flat top chaffles that I was trying to make with what I had tried to build. And they make a bunch of different inserts, which is really cool, especially for younger kids. So, this one's pretty close to flat, and this would go in, if I can show it here, like this would go in here. So they have all kinds of different designs. They have a not sure what to call this. It's not a griddle. It's, you know, a sear plate. But that still would give you the chaffle texture that would hold it together, but with a flat top per se. And now they've come out with this in the single versions. So you could use, you know, bottom plate with the chaffle, which you need for the structure. You can't really do this without the structure. And then you could put like the top plate on there, press those two together, and it should give you a, you know, flat top, something closer to a bun. Let's just put it that way. I'm pretty excited about that. You know, whether they saw one of my videos complaining about it, or they, you know, saw a peek at my patent application, I don't really care. I'm just happy that now there is, and it's not a four. That's the other best part. It's not four, and it's not one coil trying to heat all four. This actually has four independent coils. So that just pops off like that. Each one of these, independent coil. I know, I get excited about silly stuff sometimes, but this, I haven't tried it out yet. But if this ends up working out, this is huge for future recipe development. And price-wise, it's about the same price as a four maker, the multi-four. This is just, to me, it's a huge upgrade. And if it works, being able to swap out for something like this, that you could do sausage patties or hamburger, you know, put two of these in, and you have a hamburger press or a sausage press. And I love the fact that they have stuck to the same 4-inch size. That makes my recipe building so much easier versus, you know, comparing these two. They look really close, but they're not. This, you know, throw this one away. Yeah. It's geeking out tonight. And then if you have really picky kids, or, you know, younger kids, you can use, they have all kinds of different stuff. Winnie the Pooh, Mickey and Minnie Mouse. Just, they have a ton of these different plates that you could use to make different things. And that's wonderful. You know, one machine, I will, if this works, I will be buying another one or two to speed up my batch cooking. But man, this is leaps and bounds compared to what I've been struggling with for the last 4 or 5 years. And then, you know, just the other thing, like I was talking about earlier, is the possibility of figuring out how to do these are my medical conditions, what would be the best options, where can I start kind of AI helped form on the website eventually. Um, Because, yeah, and this is going to bring in some new recipes too, and I'm not sure where to put these on the website because due to my conditions, due to my research, there's a lot of the stuff out there, ingredients that I think people are just flat out better off avoiding. But if you're not as reactive as I am to things, you know, I still want those options available because of the fact if I create those options, they're still safer than what you're going to get from store bought big box companies. It'll be a learning experience, and maybe a lot of it won't even ever, like coconut flour. Let's put it that way. Coconut flour is generally considered safe, a safer option than a lot of the other stuff. I can't eat coconut flour because of the fact of the fructans and free fructose in it that bothers my HFI. Now, is coconut flour a safer option for diabetics and people with insulin resistance than rice flour, tapioca starch? Absolutely. Unfortunately, that's where finding recipe testers comes into play because I personally cannot eat that stuff, which is why I've shied away from it all this time. I've tried it, I react horribly to it, but if I if I can create a recipe that other people could use versus corn or tapioca starch or rice flour, I have to take that chance. So that's, the other thing too. I picked up one of the Dash egg, what do they call it? The rapid egg maker, and tried it out last night because I've tried every single way of doing hard boiled eggs, and it's always a pain in the ass, in my opinion. For someone like me, you have to follow all these directions just to get it just right. And for $20, you can get the 7 egg version. For $25 right now, you can get the 12 egg version. And it's not just for eggs. I mean, you can do an omelet, you can do poached eggs, you could use it as a steamer for chicken and broccoli or fish fillets and broccoli. You could just steam vegetables in it. I see so many recipes coming down the road using this little gadget, this $20 gadget. That's great. You know, Trying to get things the simplest, easiest way of doing things. I appreciate it. And I just kind of wanted to give a shout out to Dash tonight, being I've been using all their gear for, years now. I'm glad that they're still working on new ideas because that makes disabled people like myself's lives a lot easier. And the fact that they have pretty decent prices on all of their equipment is another big shout out to them. Um, it would be awesome if they would, if they see this and they would reach out to me. I would love to work with their design team on future projects and products. Never know, maybe we could get them to sponsor a few videos. Anyways, I hope you guys are having a good week. It's been miserable here in Fremont. It was a little bit cooler today, but the humidity was just unbearable. We had storms last night, possibly storms again tonight, bigger storms tomorrow. But that's July in Nebraska for sure. I hope you guys are all doing better and hanging in there if you're in this heat wave. Um, and maybe let me know, because like this recent issue with this new condition I hadn't really thought about, which was chronic kidney disease, where potassium came into play. And I researched it, and it comes back saying, no potatoes, no bananas, no dairy, no almond flour. Crap. That takes my chaffle recipes completely off the board. So where I had built the chaffles to help out people with diabetes, HFI, and celiac disease. Well, now what if you have someone with celiac disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and chronic kidney disease? Nope. Sorry. Two main ingredients you can't eat on that. So, back to square one. And I don't want to just leave people out there hanging in the wind. If I can recreate the chaffle using something different, like maybe coconut flour and eggs, but no cheese and no almond flour, maybe I can do that. It's going to take a little bit of work, but it is what it is. So if you guys happen to see this, maybe throw out some of the other conditions that you all have that I could possibly look into down the road and see. Sometimes there just isn't a safe option. But if there is, I would love to work on a recipe with someone else that would be interested in, like, what do you miss the most? How can we rebuild a recipe safest way possible? Well, that's it for tonight, guys. I don't know anything else other to say than that. Check out the Dash mini maker. I think that's pretty cool. Check out the Dash rapid egg maker if you guys want. And like I said, reach out if you have conditions that maybe you feel the dietitians and doctors aren't helping you out enough with. Go check out the website. Share the website if you can. Go check out the medical library, the guild, the community page, and have a good weekend. Get out there, celebrate the 4th if you can. If the weather's permitting, might not be here for us, but get out there if you guys can, and have fun, hang out with family and friends. Hopefully I'll have a chance to test this out. Oh, I also forgot to tell you guys that my mom actually worked through the chocolate chaffle recipe, and we actually think it's pretty well nailed down at this point. So be looking for the chocolate chaffle and the whipped cream recipe on the website here in the next week or two. I've got to get pictures of everything. I've got to taste it and test it for a few days. But, you know, if my mom handled it okay and she could actually make it herself, I think that's probably a pretty good sign that it's ready to go up on the website. Until next time, catch up with y'all later. Hope you're doing well. Signing out from Grain Free Me in Fremont, Nebraska. Happy 4th of July, everybody.